Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Krissy Monaghan, your host, and today we are joined by Rose Gibson, the founder of BabyBeats and BodyBeats, and a multiple finalist in the Class Business Awards. Through BabyBeats and BodyBeats, Rose has created a range of classes supporting women, babies, children, and adults with their physical and emotional well-being. From pregnancy and postnatal fitness to baby development and mindfulness and adult exercise. Really can't wait to have this conversation. So let's dive in. Rose, it's absolutely amazing to have you with us today on the podcast. For everyone who is listening online or watching us on YouTube, please tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
Hi, I'm very excited to be here. So a variety of different things. My main role at the moment is I'm franchisor of the franchise BabyBeats, but I also run another company called BodyBeats, which is, I always say, my founder company. So the company that I started with, where I started building and testing things, and that is still running alongside the franchise as well.
So let's go into, obviously fitness is one of my favourite topics. Let's rewind to you being a small child. Yep. Was fitness always your thing?
No. So I trained in dance. So I actually trained at a really high level to become a professional dancer. I performed in all different sort of shows. I did a lot of circus work randomly. I did stilt walking, all sorts of different things. And I loved it. I really did love it. But I feel like my training experience really sucked the passion out of it. So when it came to auditioning and being within that culture, you have to be a very resilient person in some respects, but you also have to play the game a lot. And for my personality, that just did not sit with me. I'm not really a bitchy kind of person. I want to support everybody, and there's a lot of game playing within the performance industry, just the nature of competing against each other. And I found that really difficult. I found it really hard to go up against people, and I just didn't love it. And I got to a point where I was like, I need to do something else. This is not for me. And I came into Pilates and yoga, and I just loved it. I loved every element of it. I loved teaching. I loved being at the front of the class. So off I went, did all my fitness qualifications. I also did a sports therapy qualification. So I'm a qualified sports therapist, and quite quickly realised that wasn't for me. I'm not into being in a room with somebody back to back 20 minutes at a time. But I actually loved being in the front of the class. And I think an element of any sort of teaching like that, you are performing, you sort of put your performance head on, you stand in front of everybody. And I just really loved it. I loved seeing the difference in people. I loved the connection that I got with all the different personality types, and it fulfilled what I wanted as well.
So how old was you when you delivered your very first adult fitness class?
I think, professionally, probably older than I actually did when I did my first one. I think I did a few ropey ones to just try it out. Maybe about sort of early 20s. When I taught dance. I did dance throughout my my training. I'd gone into schools and offered workshops. So I had sort of done teaching in that sense, but I knew I didn't really want to predominantly work within a school. Probably early 20s. And I just loved it, to start with. I loved everything about it, but it's very hard on your body. And I taught everything. I did body pump, I did spinning, I did bums on tums, everything that you could possibly do within a gym program. I was there teaching it. And I got to a point where I was like, I cannot do this long time, for a long period of time, because my body teaching 30 classes will be absolutely shot by the time I'm 30. And having a child as well, it just really changed my perception on how many classes a week I can teach. And the pay as well. The pay is not great if you're going into gyms. So sort of getting paid £15 an hour, which at the time was an okay amount, but continually back to back, it was just a lot.
And then is that when you decided, actually, I could just run my own classes?
Yeah, so I just started testing, hiring different places out, marketing myself a little bit more. And I think I'd got the confidence as well that I knew that actually I was really good at this, and people were coming back from the gym. When I was teaching freelance within a gym setting, they would book my classes, and I was like, okay, there's something in this. People are coming back not just because it's the class that it's a Pilates class or a yoga class. They were coming back because it was me. And I just really, I think I probably grew in confidence at that point and was like, okay, I'm going to try different areas. I'm going to keep building it. And there were classes where I had 3 people in there. And, I was like, okay, I want a class of 30. But I just kept going with it and building it and building it. And that has now been running for nearly 20 years. We've had some of these classes going. And it's a lovely community. I've had people that have been there the whole time.
Oh, man, 20 years. Wow. And how many classes are operating like that you deliver now for that section?
So I just deliver 4 classes a week.
4 core, and I see them coming in all the time. Like, you do some great fun stuff with the people, the clients. How do you get them in? How do you get them involved in your like social media content? Because really, they've come just to do a class.
Yeah, I mean, they are such a good laugh, and they do participate. Usually, I kind of threaten them with like a lifetime ban if they don't participate in it. No, they are. Everyone's just really up for it. I think everyone's so supportive, and they know that it's part of business now. And there are people that don't want to be on it. And if I if I say to them, I'm going to do a recording tonight, I make sure those people are in the camera. And I am very aware that not everybody wants to be on it. But I think the majority of people understand that it is part of business now. And, if they can be in a funny video, especially if it's a comedy one, then I think a lot of them, especially my Friday morning class, they're well up for doing a bit of comedy TikTok.
Well, I think it's just great because it sort of builds that community and laughter into the business, doesn't it? So obviously you were out running those classes, doing your thing, and then the business model evolved and you started to work with mums.
Yeah. So I saw a gap in the market, and especially after I'd had my first, I went to a baby yoga class I was yoga qualified. So I rocked up, I had my leggings on. I was like, hi, what type of yoga do you teach? I teach this, this and this. And the teacher was like, baby yoga. And in my head, I thought I was going to be doing yoga. So I was really excited to do something for me. And there was just a bit of stretching, a little bit of singing, which was nice. There was nothing wrong with that. But because I'd read it was baby yoga, I thought, I'm going to get to do something as well. And it really got my cogs turning of, okay, there's something in this. Like, there's so many things for baby, but what about me? Like, I've gone from being this really confident woman who can perform, I can hang upside down on an aerial hoop, I can stand in front of a class, but now actually I'm just my child's mum and everything is focused on her. And maybe because I've got like main character vibes and I want a bit about me as well. So I thought, okay, let's play around with this concept. And I got qualified in baby yoga. So I did a course in that. I did a baby massage course. I qualified in breastfeeding peer support just so I could have some more knowledge around that area as well. And I did as much as I possibly can in order to then start playing with a format of class that actually supported mum and baby. And it took a while. Like, I did some things and it just didn't work. Like, I got volunteers and I was like, oh, okay, maybe that wasn't, I didn't want it to be overstimulating. And so many times I took my children to classes and I was like, there's lights everywhere, there's noise. And I wanted the women to walk out and go, do you know what? That was great for baby, but actually I've re-engaged with my core, or I've learned a little bit about my pelvis. So it was just trial and error for a few years, really.
And obviously you've grown it now into a franchise. It's a national franchise across the UK that's growing. But what I want to talk about is, obviously I know this year you have done a lot of work about being visible, getting the brand out there, building your personal brand. And what I've found really interesting is that when you were talking about this market, like when I had my children, there was just classes. There was nothing for parents. Like, I had to literally just get myself back in the gym, buy myself a running buggy and run with, my daughter and use the gym. That was it. But now there is just a whole sector that are supporting women who are going through pregnancy with fitness. And then obviously after they've had the baby. Can we just touch on that? Because I didn't realize how much the market has changed in 15 years.
Yeah. So historically, if you've got a gym membership and you become pregnant and you go to your gym, you signed in for a contract, say maybe a 2-year contract, and you go and you say, oh, I'm pregnant, then you can pause your contract. So straight away, no questions asked, yep, you can pause your contract. Whereas there's this huge gap where actually we could support women through that transition. And I think this is where the market has kind of gone, okay, rather than, mainstream gyms, and I think it's changing, it is, but a lot of the time they go, yeah, that's fine, off you go. So that's where people like me can step in and go, okay, well, I can support you in my specialised area. And I think it's just taken time for that to actually catch up. And there is a whole spectrum of classes now. There's classes where you keep your baby on the mat and it is just for mum. And that's got its place completely for those women that want to do more of a circuit-based or weight class. For me, it's all about just accepting the changes of a woman's body, that they've happened. And we're not always happy with them, but actually understanding why those changes have happened. Maybe your pelvis is hurting, maybe your lower back's hurting, maybe you're wanting to sort of, remove some extra weight, but you're not sure why that's not happening. It's the knowledge and the understanding around that. And I think this market has really in the last 5 years started to explode because there is that need there for it. And I think gyms are starting to catch up with that. We're in quite a few mainstream gyms at the moment. And I think they're starting to see that actually there is this market that they're missing out on. And it's this huge, this huge thing that actually we're going to bring women through this lovely journey. So we're not only just going to support them in the time that's really crucial for them in a massive change in their life, but actually we've got so many other products that we can then sell to them coming from that. You're getting used to these gyms, there's swimming lessons for children, there's holiday clubs happening, there's PT sessions. So it opens so many different doors by supporting women through this stage of life.
And if we talk about like just women in fitness in general, because obviously I know from being from a sports background, there's a massive drop-off in girls' participation in sport in schools, usually when they get to secondary school. And then I don't feel like I know it has improved like dramatically, but I'm just thinking from my perspective when I was growing up. And then I feel like when, I was fit training, when I was 14, I was training 5 times, 6 times a week and competing. So I was always in the mindset of keeping fit and healthy. But then when I was pregnant with my daughter, there wasn't really, I don't even know if we were told to exercise. I think there was a point where people were like, exercise is dangerous. You shouldn't be exercising when you're pregnant. Now, I swam a lot with my first daughter because I couldn't run because I had pain in my back and stuff. And I only did a little bit of running when I had my second daughter. But I think the tide started changing when we saw all the top athletes who were pregnant, who were like running right up until like in terms of from an athletics point of view, like until they had their baby. And I think, the perception of fitness for females has definitely changed in the last how many years. Have you seen that? Physically, like more women come into classes, more women, I don't know if it's because of the internet, because of social media, like what is it? But there's definitely more people doing it, taking more pride in it.
Yeah, and I think it's always been a specialist area, and I think people have always been really scared. So as soon as someone gets pregnant, and especially from a fitness point of view, like when I first qualified, I would have been a little bit scared because you do not want to give anybody anything, do you, ever that's going to, affect their baby or them. So it is quite a scary, when you first qualify to actually deal with women who are pregnant or just postnatal as well, because ultimately we want to support them. But I think as it's become, it's called a specialist field when you train in it. And it's something that we've been campaigning recently for, that it's not a specialist field. It should just be part of the fitness qualifications, because we are half the population. And, I don't know what the percentage of us that get pregnant, but there's so many women that are going through this continuously that it should just be part of the national qualification. So I think just awareness has improved on that. And I think programs like ours, I do think when we first started in 2016, we were really unique. There wasn't much else that catered for these women. So our classes were just booming. They were so full. Because there wasn't anything else. Now there is a variety of different things. And I think that it's a mixture of education, social media. I love the fact that women are stepping into it and going, do you know what, just because I'm pregnant, I don't have to stop. There's more weightlifting, there's more benefits as well. And the research shows that women who exercise when they're pregnant and they exercise when their children are small, it's more likely for those girl babies that are born are going to keep exercising into adulthood. So there's not only just that single generational benefit, but actually it's got that huge knock-on effect for years to come. So I think that's got, there's so many different elements that have made it more mainstream, and I just think it's so positive.
Yeah, and it can only be a good thing if we can get more girls, young ladies, women, and then, the women who have babies active and moving, keeping their body going. That's what we're here for. Particularly when you get to a certain age, like my age, and you're like, I just need to stay on the planet as long as possible now. So it's like, keep yourself fit and healthy. And I think there's a role, like you said, for the work you do that is like from that, from small all the way right through until, we pop our clogs off. Yeah, there is for sure. And so obviously you do amazing work in the field, and I know your team do incredible work out there every single day. What's the business plan for the rest of this year? Like, what are you guys focusing on?
So we're focusing on basically our programs at the moment. So we're not going too heavily through recruitment. I think with the market changes, we're looking at all our programs and the different ways that they can be delivered. So not only do we have pregnancy and postnatal programs, we've also got our children's programs, which is Mindful Movers, which is predominantly children's yoga, which is so much fun, that can be delivered in so many different ways. But then we've also got our Functional Foundations program, which is the program that BodyBeats, which is my original company, that I teach out in the community. Now, we've got teachers that have really run with that. So we've got teachers that are in care homes. We've got different community centres. We've just applied for some funding to get chair-based exercises within local villages, so we can provide them for free to this area. So we're just basically expanding our programs so we can deliver them in the most versatile way possible. So we don't just have that this is this one business model, this is what you have to do. It can actually be something that's really creative. It can be something that our franchisees can go, well, actually, this interests me, or I really want to work with, adults that have got dementia or Parkinson's, and they can have creativity within the brand. And I think that's our main focus at the moment, is just looking at how we're delivering things and the different, it all comes with policies and procedures and, red tape, and making sure that we're covering everything. But that's a big focus for us now, is that scalability across the whole brand.
Yeah, because it's a fantastic product, and you want to see it in all communities should be able to access the product. That's how I look at it in terms of scalability. That's how I did it when I ran Mess Around. I was like, even if they can't come to an event, that's why we created the Mess Box at the time. It's so they could be touched by our brand and still be involved. So It's brilliant that you're doing all of that amazing work to get out into the communities and have that impact. And I mean, we know the benefits of sport. We know the impact it can have on economy, on people's lives. Is there any particular stories where you're like, you've been touched by a client where you guys have had an impact on?
Oh, there's so many. I think the ones that get me the most are the postnatal ones. And I think it's because I just relate to it so much. And I think I have to really try not to I'm not a very emotional person, but when I do see stuff like that, that we get this feedback come through of women who have felt alone, they've felt lost within the journey. We've had one recently where a lady was going through domestic abuse, and one of the elements of our programs is we offer something called BabyBeats Meets, which are free events, a bit like you've just said with Mess Around, where if they can't afford to come to classes, that they can still come to our events that are free, and they're run by specialists. We've got all sorts of different people. And she actually managed to find help within one of those events. And it's just little things like that, you know, you think if you are making one little difference in somebody's life, even if it's just a mum who is absolutely knackered and they feel so alone and they're feeling just really down, and they just come to a session, or they come to a meets class, or they come to a BabyBeats walk. I think that for me, yes, it's great to make money. Yes, I want the brand out there, but I think it's a version of myself that I see that felt lost in motherhood, and it's so empowering, and it really gets me in that place that I'm like, oh, don't cry when you read this. So it's just that impact. I think it is motherhood. I think motherhood is such obviously love my children to death, but I think I really felt the transition from being me to being a mum. And I think because maybe I was a young mum, and it just felt so abrupt. I felt like I'd lost who I was, and I was just this new person that wasn't quite anybody other than my daughter's mum. And I think it took into my mid-30s to really step back into my power and go, do you know what? No, I am still me, and I can still be that person, and I can build a personal brand, and it doesn't have to just be about the children. We love the children and we can acknowledge them, and it's brilliant, and it's such a privilege to have them. But actually the woman beneath is still really important as well. Yeah,
I feel like I think most mums would recognise the loss of identity.
Yeah,
for sure. Like that is, you know, it totally happens. You go from one thing to another thing, and the whole needs and demands are completely different. And obviously you're struggling it. And obviously you wrote a book about it, which is called I'm Fine But.
Behind me if you're watching.
Yes, and it's a brilliant book and a brilliant tool and resource available for, it's for new mums, isn't it? It's for mums or mums in general.
Yeah, so it's predominantly wrote for new mums because it talks about things like breastfeeding, how your body feels, exercise that you can do after birth. But, you know, we've had so many women that have read it that have got older children and gone, oh my God, I wish someone had given me this 20 years ago. And it's all the things that I think I was thinking, but I didn't dare to say, that I did not dare to say out loud, because people would think you're a shit mum, or you don't love your children, or, you know, and it's all the things that we hold in, that I think it's now becoming more acceptable to share these things. But it's okay to not love every single moment of it. That sometimes you go, do you know what? I'm just really tired and I miss the person that I was before. I still love my children, yes. And I think it's okay to accept that. And this is what the book was for. And luckily it resonated with so many women.
Yes, it's been a brilliant book. And obviously it's been great for you to build your personal brand with it. And you talk on stages about all of this type of work. So for someone who's listening and they're figuring out, like everyone's been talking about personal brand, you've got to build a personal brand. You can't hide behind your logo. Like, what was 3 tips that you would give to someone who needs to get started with building their personal brand?
Oh, my first one is, if you're going to record videos, don't watch them back. So my thing is done over perfection. So just get it done. Just get it started. You will look back at your first post a year down the line and go, oh my God, what was I doing? Like, that is horrible. But that shows progress. If you can look back and go, that video was terrible, and I look back at mine and I cringe, but it shows that you've made progress in that time. And if you don't start, you'll never do it. So it's almost like ripping the plaster off. Just get started. Don't watch it back. Talk into your camera and post. That would be my first one. The next one, I think, is to take out anybody within your sort of circle who you feel is not judgy, that might not be the right word, but you feel like you're going to get any negativity back from. So I like to surround myself with people that I can cheerlead and that will cheerlead me back on. And that doesn't mean that I don't take criticism on. Ask my husband. I am not great at taking criticism from him, but I'm more than happy to have criticism, but in a positive way. And I have been in circles, business circles, where it's been quite catty or like bitchy. And I think that's why I didn't do well within the dancing world, because I just don't like it. It makes my heart go, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I'd rather say something positive and constructive. So I think just look at who's within your circle. Have you got that support system within there? Because it is a scary thing to do. And then I think the third one is really think about what you want to put out there. What is your voice? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? And once you've got that clear, don't be afraid to share that, because you can be controversial and you can say things that, you know, you think, oh, somebody might not like that. But actually, we want people to not like it, because maybe 90% of the people you're going to push away, but that 10% that's your people, that are your clients, you're going to draw them into you because you're resonating and your opinions and your thoughts are really going to connect with them.
Brilliant. Well, there you go, guys. There's free tips to help you get started. And Rose, if people want to find out more about your classes and the adult classes, where's the best place for them to come and find out?
So we hang around on Instagram mainly, and that's BabyBeats UK. So you can have a search for us there. If you like a bit of comedy fitness within the sort of class environment, that's BodyBeats Fitness. So just to keep it nice and simple, we've got BabyBeats and BodyBeats, and come and check us out there. But we do have classes running up and down the country. So if you're obviously not local to Yorkshire, there are other areas as well.
Perfect. And if a provider wants to connect with you to learn more about what you've done in terms of building your personal brand this year, where should they connect? Instagram?
Yeah, come across to Instagram. We've also got loads of free resources as well. So for gyms, we've got for personal trainers, fitness instructors, we've got all different courses where they can learn more about building a business and niching in as well, and how to do that successfully. So if they head across to Instagram or babybeats.co.uk and reach out to us, we can point them in the direction of some of our resources.
Brilliant. And we're looking forward to seeing you with us on the 10th of October. Down in Birmingham. I know there's a few of the troupe coming.
Yes, we'll be there.
And I'm sure everyone is going to want to come and speak to you and connect with you. So thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story and telling us about all the amazing work that you guys are doing. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.